Hello and welcome to the Crypto Masters Podcast, helping the general public to master an understanding of crypto assets. My name is Brian McCoy.
And my name is Ross Eaton.
And we are the Crypto Masters. All right, nice, Ross. The topic of today's episode is Cosmos. Cosmos is a layer 1 platform with some interesting features, and we'll be discussing this crypto asset on today's podcast. It is the self-proclaimed Internet of Blockchains.
Ooh, big statement there, Brian.
It is a big statement. Quick reminder, our goal here at Crypto Masters is to provide information about crypto assets to help the public decide if it's something that they may want to invest in and then do research on their own. We generally look at projects to determine if they would be good for a long-term investment.
Yeah, we provide information about different crypto assets to allow you, the listeners, to make your own investment decisions. Big disclaimer here, this is not financial advice.
There it is.
Not financial advice, I say again, because we're just not financial advisors. But, we want to give you, the listeners, the power to branch out on your own and discover crypto.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. So in doing our podcast, Ross and I get to do research on these different assets, and we think it's a lot of fun. And we can kind of help you, I think, get started on yours, and then you see if it's something you want to look into further.
Absolutely.
And that's what we're doing today with Cosmos. So it's a layer 1 platform that's actually a network, and the Cosmos network consists of independent or sovereign parallel blockchains called zones. The zones can connect to a hub. And this crypto asset attempts to solve the problems that we've discussed on several of the previous episodes: scalability and interoperability.
Yeah, I think that's what's on everyone's mind right now, Brian. Scalability, interoperability. Can these things connect and talk to each other? And then, as we've seen with this whole thing called Ethereum, with its scalability issues, gas fees spiking, transactions not being processed, scalability is huge. Of course, Ethereum 2.0 will hopefully solve all that. But yeah, that's really the major problems right now. Cosmos addresses to solve here. I got my C change mixed up. But yeah, they use a Tendermint BTF, which essentially is just a proof of stake consensus algorithm. And that you're probably thinking, man, Ross and Brian, you're sounding like broken records now. But yeah, proof of stake, it's almost going hand in hand with scalability right now. It's just faster, more efficient than proof of work. Just every node trying to compete to get that block.
Actually, when you said Tendermint, I thought of chewing gum. It seems like that would be a good name for a chewing gum.
Oh. Well, when you just said it, it already sounded to be true. You're a really good salesman, Brian. It's kind of freaking me out.
All right.
But yeah, it also solves interoperability with its IBC, or inter-blockchain communication. Kind of speaks for itself. These blockchains will communicate with each other through this. And just a quick note, maybe you're going to cover in a second, Brian, but this is something that they've been preaching, wasn't on the initial release, but finally got released later on. But yeah, it's here, and blockchains, can communicate with each other through the Cosmos.
And I know we don't want to get into the technical aspects of it, but again, we've mentioned this actually on a previous project. It uses a type of a TCP/IP type of messaging for the inter blockchain communication, which a lot of people can relate to because we've seen that in the internet context,
absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, at least what I read was that inspired. It was inspired by their solution was inspired by the TCP/IP, which is used for internet.
Yeah, and that's just basically what Brian's trying to say is we need a protocol to be able to communicate with each other in these computing worlds. So
right. So and that's what we need to step back a little bit. You have all these blockchains that we've talked about before. Ethereum's its own blockchain, Bitcoin's its own blockchain, Cardano's its own blockchain. So, what this is trying to accomplish is to allow those blockchains to have some form of interoperability, maybe meaning using the coins or tokens of each other. So, to use an Ether token on Bitcoin chain or vice versa, things like that. That is kind of what Cosmos is trying to do here. And they've already have some. So we talked about the hubs, and they already have some blockchains on the Cosmos ecosystem, including the Binance Chain, the Kira network, OKEX's OK Chain, Aragon, Band Protocol, and others, including Kava, which is a DeFi and lending platform that I think is a good investment in its own right. Maybe we'll cover that one day when we're ready to get back to another DeFi.
Absolutely.
But and also, if you, I hope I didn't run over it too quickly. The Binance Chain is one that I mentioned, which right now is just going crazy. So much activity on the Binance Chain. It's with the Binance. It's part of the Binance, family, which is a centralized exchange, but it's huge. And it came out with the Binance Chain because of all the problems that we've talked about with Ethereum. So it's right now, I think a lot of people are reluctant because it is centralized. Everybody knows that about Binance, at least. But it's getting all kinds of activity. So the fact that they chose Cosmos, I think, is a big feather in the cap of Cosmos.
Oh yeah, and I think that really opens up the world for crypto. A lot of people get into it for that decentralized aspect. We hear Bitcoin, you don't need a centralized bank to, send funds between each other. But then to get on and buy the thing, you have to get on an exchange that is centralized. So it's kind of like,
well, for now.
yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm loving about projects like this.
Yeah.
It's keeping that decentralized nature kind of in the game.
Not to get off topic too much, but I think Binance realizes that the decentralized exchanges are coming, and it's preparing itself for that. That was kind of a side note. Let me give a quick example. I said, Bitcoin and Ethereum could interoperate using Cosmos. So the way that would work is, like I said, the hub and zone model, and just very briefly for an example, if you want to connect Ethereum and Bitcoin through Cosmos, both the blockchains, Ethereum and Bitcoin, would connect to their own zone on Cosmos. Then the Ethereum zone and the Bitcoin zone would connect to a hub, and then through this shared hub, Ether and Bitcoin could be transferred between them. That's kind of an example of how the interoperability of blockchains would work on Cosmos, or does work on Cosmos.
Absolutely. So yes, there's some dApps also already operate on Cosmos, and just to quickly mention those, this includes Anchor, financial platform, pretty big. Flare's a payment network. Clever, a mobile app with integrated blockchain wallet. So yeah, there's already some dApps working on Cosmos. Definitely kind of sucking some people into it. So.
No, that's good. Again, another kind of feather in its cap, showing that it's something already being used, already being able to have dApps on it. That's great. All right, let's talk a little bit of the history of Cosmos. And you mentioned Tendermint, which would be a good chewing gum, by the way. But it started.
Deja vu.
I go back to that well. It works so well at first. It started as Tendermint. It was actually the original company was called Tendermint. So I guess as an homage to that, they named their security system for it. But anyways, and that was in April of 2017. It launched a token sale and raised $17 million. So the Cosmos in April of 2017 had its token sale. And they had some private sales before the public sale, so it wasn't, a total fair sell. But there's about 20% going to the founders. And then in March of 2019, the official mainnet was launched. I'm going to mention the founders. They were Jae Kwon, and I believe he started actually Tendermint and then stayed with it when it became Cosmos. and another person named Zarko Milosevic and Ethan Buckman. So both Kwan and Buckman left the project in 2020. I'm not sure about Buckman, but I understand Jay Kwan's sort of semi-retired. He's still involved maybe with the project and advising it or something. But anyway, that seemed to have a good team behind it when it started. Hopefully, it still does. Again, things have been happening, so sounds good.
Absolutely. Well, let's look into the coin behind Cosmos. And funny enough, Brian, it's called Atom, which I think in the real world, the Cosmos are made up of atoms.
Oh, okay. I was wondering why it was funny.
Yeah.
Now I see.
I think I see where they're going with this. And that's Atom, ATOM.
Right.
The same as the small speck you can barely see or not see at all. With protons and electrons, all that science stuff. Do you need more explanation, Brian?
No, I was ATOM Atom as opposed to like the guy's name. Gotcha.
Yes.
Gotcha.
But atoms are used for staking and governance of the protocol. Obviously, every protocol platform has to have their own coin to, be able to interoperate and stuff like that. So, just some tokenomics about Atom. There's no maximum supply. So, economics-wise, scarcity is not something that should, affect the price in this case.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like we've talked about Bitcoin with the maximum cap. We've talked about some others with a maximum. I just talked about Quant a couple weeks ago. It has a hard cap. So, yeah, it's just different. It's a different strategy, I guess.
Yeah, kind of like Ethereum. No cap.
Ethereum does not have a cap at this point. That's true.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So if anyone has watched our other podcasts or is familiar with crypto, our discussion has probably triggered in your mind something about Polkadot, right? Because we covered Polkadot a few weeks back.
Yep.
And there's a lot of similarities, actually, as you can tell, between Polkadot and Cosmos. So let's do a quick kind of compare and contrast. As we talked about, Polkadot uses parachains, and Cosmos uses the hub and zone model that we just talked about. So in Polkadot, there's sort of one connected governance system. The relay chain sort of presides over all of the parachains. This is oversimplifying, but that is one way to look at it. Whereas in Cosmos, the blockchains really are more independent or sovereign. So, like we said, Ethereum or even Bitcoin could become a blockchain that joins a hub on Cosmos, but they have their own governance. I mean, it's not like they're then going to fall under the Cosmos governing system. Whereas in Polkadot, I think that is true to a larger extent, at least. So,
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of, I think, the main difference that you can see between the two projects, and it's a significant difference, but it's also maybe a good difference. I mean, Polkadot is saying, hey, we have this great system here, and if you want to be a part of it, you can actually bid, like we talked on, you can bid and be a part of our whole ecosystem. And Cosmos is more like, hey, if you're already existing and independent and sovereign, or if you want to create a new independent blockchain, but you just want to have interoperability with some of these other ones that we're offering here on our ecosystem, you can do it. So I think it's kind of good that we have both types in there. And that's what I see as kind of the main difference between the two.
Absolutely. And, there's drawbacks to that. So, if you launch on Polkadot, you get their validators. Of course, their governance, their validators. If you launch on Cosmos, you kind of have to, market to validators like, hey,
Yep.
Or if you have your own, if you have tons of nodes and you want to fire that up, you can do it yourself. So just to kind of show some positive and negatives.
Yeah, right. They both have their benefits, and I think you can see that. It's not, to me, it seems like it's not easy to get your whole system that a blockchain needs with, if you're going proof of stake with the nodes and validators and all the other people really that you need involved. So it gives sort of projects a choice. Do we want to do this one with Polkadot where that's provided, or do we want to be independent? So I think it's great.
Yeah, and I'll just say one more thing on that. This is a rough comparison, of course, but if you launch a DApp on Ethereum and you're in need of some major update, well, you have to submit an EIP, and that's got to get voted on and pass through that whole system. Whereas, on Cosmos, if you've got all your validators and you want to open up your own blockchain, you can just add that feature in and you're kind of good to go. So kind of more work up front if you know what you're doing, but less work if you just want to get up and running and have some other governance there. So
yeah.
Good.
I like it. There's the two different kinds.
Absolutely.
All right, Ross, where can people buy Atom?
Yes, so a couple of spots you can buy this bad boy. Coinbase Pro, might have heard of it. Binance, as we've just mentioned 2 seconds ago. Kraken, watch out, people. OKEX, and many other exchanges. This thing is, you're going to be hard not to find it.
Yeah,
Yes.
It's one that's not going to be difficult to find.
Absolutely.
All right, Ross, it is time for final thoughts
Final
on
thoughts.
Cosmos. Who's up?
Flip a coin. Why don't you go ahead?
You want me to take it?
Yeah,
All right,
yeah,
I
let's
am
go.
going to take it. Hopefully I steal all your thunder. I will say this, and we
That's
normally say this, not that we're market movers by any means, but I like to normally tell people whether I own any or not, just so they'll know whether I have any biases or not. And I don't own any Cosmos. But I will say I am giving it a hard look. And after the research, I'm even more so. So I wouldn't doubt if within the next week I own Cosmos. Because I am impressed with it. I didn't, until we get into of course I knew about Cosmos and I knew it was interoperability was its thing. But, until we do our research that we really have to do to get ready for one of these, I don't know the details. And so to me, I was kind of thinking, Polkadot, usurped it. Polkadot came in and stole its thunder. And so now Cosmos has no real use or benefit, over Polkadot. But now I know that's not true. It's like we just discussed, it is a different option, a different way to do the interoperability. So I kind of like that. So is Cosmos a chance if you missed out on the Polkadot run-up? Can you maybe get it with Cosmos? I'd say maybe. I think the IBC launch that you mentioned in January 2021 it was a big event. It was kind of like we'd always heard about Cosmos since it launched in 2019. Interoperability, but didn't really have it. It was coming soon kind of thing. Well, when that actually launched in January of 2021, that was a big deal. So, I mentioned the Polkadot run-up, which was incredible. I missed it. I own Polkadot, but I bought it after it was, at a market price.
Oh, yeah, same here.
Yeah, right. So we didn't get in on the early days of that, and I didn't on Cosmos either. And since the IBC in late January to the date of this, in March of 2021, the price has more than doubled. So it's not like it hasn't been reflected in the price, but then again, it's been a bull run since that time. Almost everything has doubled or more. So
yeah, everything is green.
Yeah, so I don't know if the IBC launch has really been priced in yet. Maybe it has. Under an efficient market theory, it would have already been priced in, but I'm not sure about that. But even so, I can see Cosmos, with a couple of major announcements, getting another surge, another price surge. People start using it even more. It shows the interoperability works. I think it has some room to run. So I give it a thumbs up overall. Not invested in it yet, but I very well may do so soon. Although there are lots of good projects.
Yeah, and might have to piggyback off you slightly, Brian. If you just compare, everyone's doing comparisons now of Cosmos and Polkadot, but if you look at these market caps, there is a huge disparity there. So, and we've talked about doing a series on kind of gems, and not necessarily saying Cosmos is this very small project and no one knows about it, but it's just very low price for what it seems to be able to do, So I will be. I don't own any now. I am looking to acquire some because, I mean, if you think this will be a equal competitor of Polkadot, I mean, we're looking at a large multiple there. So,
Yeah, that's a good point.
I'm not putting in 50%, even 20% of my portfolio in it, but I will be acquiring just a little nest egg in there in case this thing goes off and it kind of equals up to the hype that Polkadot is.
True.
Yeah, I think this could be something that the Polkadot me and Brian missed.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, and a lot of other people, I think. But yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good way to look at it. In a sense, if you think, oh, gee, this has as much potential as Polkadot, and right now Polkadot's market cap is, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, but 5x more than Cosmos, which it might be. I just picked that number out of the air. You could see how Cosmos would have a lot of room to run.
Oh yeah, it's got the room to run, Brian, and we're hoping it goes to the Cosmos. Yes.
Nice.
I was going to say stratosphere, but I think that's a little too small for the Cosmos.
I gotcha. I love
where
it.
I'm going.
All right.
Using this.
I like your stalling while I had time to pull up CoinGecko too. All right, so
yes.
Yeah, well, we mentioned it. We might as well close it out. So Polkadot's market cap, as of the date of this recording, is $36.6 billion.
Okay, that was higher than I thought. I was thinking around 30.
Cosmos is $5 billion.
Okay.
So when I said a 5x, I wasn't too far off. It's more like a 7x. So again, I and there's other time people have looked at like Chainlink's market cap is X, and so this Oracle is here. If it were to equal, it's not going to equal it. Just like I don't think Cosmos is going to, but it shows you the room it has to run. I mean, there's 7x difference in their market cap, so that's a good point.
No, I'm glad you brought that up, Brian, because it's a very loose comparison when you're just blindly looking at market caps and trying to do a multiple. But I mean, there is somewhat of a potential calculation there.
Right. It gives it shows you where it can get to.
Exactly. Yeah. You can use that strategy for free, people.
That's we're waiving all our patent rights.
Yes.
That idea. All right, Ross. Well, this was a good one. Cosmos was very enjoyable. Just another one of these crypto assets that are so fun to learn about.
Absolutely, and we just have a couple more to cover, I think, until we run out.
And you know what? We will be back with another show covering another crypto asset on the Crypto Masters. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, and make sure to subscribe, like, comment, tell us what you want us to cover next.